This time on One Foot Flipper, I sell some stuff, make some mistakes. Stay tuned to see which there is more of.
One Foot Flipper.
Hey everybody, it's Sunday. I'm starting to pack up my orders from my Black Friday weekend. My 7-day total on my main store, only $1,600. Actually below average, but it's good enough. I just got a message today from somebody who bought a vintage 60-year-old razor, electric razor, over 2 months ago, and now says the screen is cracked and they want to return it. Looked at the pictures, the screen's not cracked in the pictures. My guess is they bought this vintage collectible razor and actually started using it every day, and then of course the 60-year-old screen cracked. I think I'm just not going to answer the message, because that's going to be my first thing, is just I'm not going to answer the message at all. Maybe then they'll go away. If they keep messaging me, the first one I could have just missed the message. If they message me again later, then I'll answer and say that the return time for that is long past. Perhaps they should find another screen. So I did a bit of an off eBay selling screw up. Sold my van last week, and I promptly filled out and signed over the title to one of my wife's cars and not the van, because apparently we had several 2005 Toyotas and different models or whatever else, and I just couldn't keep it straight as to which one it was. Heard back from the guy who bought it a couple of days ago, so now he's gonna come back, bring that title back, which now I'll have to get a duplicate of, and I can sign him the correct title over. Thankfully that got caught, because that's the sort of thing that could have been a nightmare, because that could have slipped through the cracks of the system. He could have brought it, got it inspected. The person who inspected it maybe never checked the VIN, or doesn't matter if the person who inspected checked the VIN. Could have got it inspected. The person at the DMV might not have ever noticed that the VIN number on the inspection didn't match the VIN number on the title, and that could have just gone through. Then he could have had the wrong vehicle registered to the wrong title to a vehicle that we still own. So thank goodness that didn't turn into the nightmare that it possibly could. It turned into a smaller, different kind of nightmare though, because I had to take the rest of the death pile out of the van, and I bought some Pokemon stuff, and some more remnants of the business came from upstairs, and now I'm back to not being able to move downstairs again. And the big stuff is not moving out fast enough for me to make that room that I need to. Maybe after, I've got a premiere coming up here in about 15 minutes, so I can't go downstairs yet, but maybe I need to go downstairs and start looking at my largest items that are sitting on my shelves and start putting those up on better sales. Get them to move out of there so the floor can be completely clear again. I hate when there's stuff on the floor. And I've got a bunch of posters in stock now that I didn't have previously, and I have no place in my basement works well for posters. Nothing in my existing system does. They're all 27 inches long. That makes them poke off the shelves. I've got them in these tubes. I've got them in these tubes that I've got glued together right now, or taped. But that's just sitting in the middle of the floor, constantly getting hit by the wheelchair and whatnot. I got to find a better place to do that. What do you guys do with your posters? Why don't you put that in the comment, because I would love to hear it. I had previously not done a large number of posters, but with all the ones I bought from ADH Dave, I think I really need to work on upping my poster storage game, and also figuring out how many to roll up together at once, because I had about 30 of them rolled up together, and it took me 15 minutes to find the one poster in that roll and extricate it out of there, and that's not going to work for me. I need to do something better than that. So what do y'all do for that? How many do you roll up together, or do you roll each one up separately? Love to hear that as well. It's been a long time yesterday building Pokemon gift packages. You see, I had a viewer message me seeing if I had some sort of Pokemon card gift pack for their nephew, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just about to buy a bunch of Pokemon stuff, so I put together gift packs. I showed them in my last video, but so Milton Bradley Ask Xandar, just the globe toy that goes with the game, $10.80. I sold 3 ball ornaments, 2 separate orders. 2 of them were named Carrie to separate people, and these items sold back to back. I guess toggling that international shipping on and off does work sometimes, or is eBay only showing my items to people named Carrie? Think about it. Sold 3 at $5.71 each, plus shipping. I sold a bag of Stratego game parts, 60s, 70s era. It's actually, it is a complete set with some extras, but it is mixed between 2 different art styles. This sold for $19.20. So game parts can often be better than the real games, but don't go too deep into game parts because you end up with a lot of tiny little long tail items. I sold an old art poster print that I'd had for a very long time. I'll toss it up on the screen here if I remember at the end. Sold 1, 2, 3 gourds to one customer for $35.51 plus shipping. Now, I put in my gourd listings that I do combine shipping and give shipping refunds on gourds. Normally I don't give shipping refunds, but in some of my items I specifically say that I do, so I'll pack all those together and give the customer a shipping refund. I sold this Gorman Gast board game, $16.93. I can see from the $8 price tag on it that I probably paid $8 or just a little less. I got this from old Dungeons & Dragons game designer that I went to his booth at a community sale. There's a video about that. I think I bought games from a famous game designer, and this is from that buy. And that buy was also the only time I've ever been publicly recognized, but I also haven't gone on to a lot of big sales since I started my channel. This year I did very little sourcing. I sold, I'll throw it up on the screen because I can't find it, I sold and cannot find a mismatch record lot of 26 discs and 10 covers for $18.81. Going international for some reason. If you ever just want to be amazed at what people get mad about when selling on eBay or get stuck on or cannot get past, just go spend a little time reading the eBay forums. Wouldn't suggest bothering posting because it's just really a bunch of angry people or people who refuse to understand or learn anything, with a very small core of dedicated, helpful people who do not get the respect that they deserve for what they're doing for free. But one I ran into today amazed me. Somebody is ready to quit eBay in 2 days when their store contract expires because eBay changed the size of the margins on the packing slips. Repeat. They're going to quit eBay after decades. They've got a huge store, hundreds and hundreds of items, and they're going to quit eBay because eBay changed the size of the margins on the packing slips. I have an entire video on why you shouldn't even have packing slips. At least I think I have a whole video about that. I definitely have something in a video about it. And this person, going to give it all up, toss it all away, because eBay changed the margins. Can't figure a way to get around that. Can't use different paper. Can't change the printer settings. Can't just not use a packing slip because it doesn't do anything. And believe me, it doesn't do anything for this seller. I looked at their sales. Huge store, but only 30 sales in 3 months. So they're not getting any repeat customers off of their packing slips. That's not doing it. They're probably not getting any repeat customers at all. Probably a price guesser, so they're getting the few customers from when they guess the price is right, that actually describes the vast majority of eBay sellers, especially the part-time ones. They just guess those prices, and when they're right, they get a sale. When they're wrong, it sits forever until it accidentally becomes right. I sold multiple, I think 4 different sledding snowmen ornaments, $6.85-ish each. Couple of different purchases. Get your ornaments now, everybody. If you don't want to support the store and you don't want to buy a death pile monster, remember the death pile monsters? I still have them. I haven't sold one in like 2 weeks. Real weird. I've got the ornaments. I also sold a junior movie poster. Sold that for $8 plus shipping. I'll throw it up on the screen. Everybody complains that I don't handle the movie posters nicely enough. So many comments on that from my movie poster videos. This came from the ADH Dave poster buy lot. This one is in the 100% profit area because the first two I sold and the value of the large number of shipping tubes he sent with them brought it up to, got me my initial purchase price back completely. I sold a record. The Who, Odds and Sods, $3.32. Over the next week, I'm going to go through my low-end records and start lotting them up by artist when I can and genre when I can't to hopefully get some of them moving and sell less $3 price point things. It's wrapped up in plastic, but I sold this Nyland construction dump truck for restoration or parts. $10.15. That did take over a year to sell. Alrighty. 4 feet of geoscale train track, $15.96 plus shipping. The straight track keeps selling, but I'm hardly selling any curved track. My wife was both happy and sad about this one. I sold her iDog, which came with clothes. The clothes were an aftermarket item for the iDog. Apparently the clothes are extremely rare, and this iDog sold for $94.08. She both was happy this sold, but really sad that it actually had to leave. Not that she had used it since before we were married. In my last video, I was looking over the sales numbers for graded sports cards and graded comic books by the numbers of their sales in millions per year on eBay. What I didn't actually bother to get into is that grading your own items is usually a losing proposition. In the long term, if you grade enough items, you are almost certainly going to come out behind. There are certain exceptions. If you've got a book that's worth just thousands of dollars raw, it's probably worth going ahead and grading it if it's really nice. But for the most part, though, there's no reason to grade those items because you are not, as a whole, with a large number of graded items, going to add the value from the grading that you're going to spend on that grading. When I worked at the card store, we never sent any. We had the highest level of subscription to PSA, so we could grade things cheaper than anybody else, and we never graded our own cards unless it was to authenticate a signature on the card of somebody extremely valuable, or it was an extremely old card with value from the 40s or 50s or something. Other than that we never graded anything because that was the owner's thought. Why would you're gonna lose if you grade that? We sent in nothing but customer cards, and the results I would see, you'd see, brand new cards looked perfect, came right out of the pack perfect, and they get an 8, sometimes a 7. I don't think anybody in the store could look at a card and tell what could possibly get close to a 10. Maybe the owner could, but I don't think he could because he never sent in anything. He never graded his stuff. And overall, as a reseller, why you want to grade cards? Why don't you instead advertise that you're buying cards and buy other people's graded cards for half price instead of spending the money grading the card yourself? That is where the money is in your graded cards, is buying cards that are already graded. You will do much better doing that than spending that money, sending that card off to PSA, finally getting it back, finding out you got the 7 or the 6, or if you get into comics, the 3 or the 2, the 1, because most comics come out graded way lower than most cards do, because most comics are in far worse condition. Actually, kind of, ADH Dave sent off a large amount of comics for grading recently, and I would really wondering how he's going to do off of that. It's a decision I wouldn't have made, but maybe he'll come off good because he does have a lot of really good and key issues, so maybe he will do good on grading those just because the right comics were selected in the first place. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up breaking even or losing overall on that grading. Could go either way. All right, to the basement. All right. I sold a box of silverware. Sold this Holmes and Edward Danish Princess silver plate set, $44.03. I believe I had $5 in it, or $3, something along those lines. Did take a really long time to sell. What else I got? I sold a bookshelf game. Avalon Hill Wizard's Quest. Sold that for $15.51. I got that out of the $100 board game buy video a few months back. Probably got weird price, means it got marked down at least once. So recently I've decided to change my opinion on consignment. Initially, when I went full-time, I did a large consignment for a friend of mine, and I found that the amount of paperwork doing it on a specific percentage wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth the labor done. So instead I moved to doing for some friends some pseudo consignment where they drop stuff off, I'd sell it, and as I sold their stuff I'd pay them whatever I decided was fair. Really, the main reason I decided moving forward to do no more consignment is because that completely cripples my real ability to make money on the buy. If I am going to absolutely pay this person a nice, decent amount of chunk on every single sale, I can't make money on the buy anymore. I'm just trading my labor out, and there's no ability for me to do any decent picking or just make a good deal in the first place. And a lot of times these people although they were getting more money in the long run, they may have just been happier getting the much larger amount of money up front if I eyeballed their collection and just paid them off right then and there when they dropped it off. So that's what I'm doing in the future for pretty much everybody, except for maybe Meta Bubbles. He drops me off one or two things at random and then always ends up spending his money just on buying things right out of my store. So I'll keep that relationship up, but in the future, any large collections I get, whether it's from a friend or not, I'm just going to buy it all up front at once. That way there's no paperwork, no hurt feelings later if I find something expensive in there, and maintains my ability to make money on the buy, which is frankly one of the most important parts about reselling. And like I said, that's the thing that you give up when you could do consignment. Sold a Bachman Big Haulers graduated timber trestle set, $17.99. I do have quantity on that. So when I have quantity on an item, once one sells, I don't mark it down anymore, but every once in a while I will check and make sure I've still got the best price. I sold at least 4 balloon snowman ornament. I think there might have been more than one order. $31.08 for the 4. That's with us writing the names on them. If you want to write the names yourself, they're cheaper. Or if you want, or the preprint names, I think are the same price. I sold some big hard to pack stuff that doesn't need to leave tomorrow, so just look for that in the next video. I sold a little Warhammer Skaven Ratman with a musket, $21.82. And I sold a lot of 6 light switches. These are the kind that glow when they're off. They were left over from a construction project I worked on decades ago. They just let us take home the unused pieces. And I think that's all the sales I've got for right now. We'll check back in with you in a bit. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Were your Black Friday sales better than your normal week? Let me know in the comments. And if you know anybody who has any better sales, why don't you tell them about this channel? Hope to see you again soon.